Hi there, Lorrie here on Vancouver Island, and I am back in the kitchen again today. And I'm actually quite excited about today's entry because it is going to be an experiment, but it will be a sweet experiment. And so I think regardless, if you put enough sugar in it, it's going to taste good, right? Welcome. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. I appreciate seeing every single one of you, and I'm so glad that you're here. Anyway, the Monaciello Cellars cook-off recipe challenge. Or is it just recipe challenge? I'll have to double check before the end. I double checked and now I forget. I think it's Monaciello Cellars recipe challenge. And so this is going to be 100% unique, created by Lorrie recipe. And it is going to use produce from my garden and standard things that you would have, mostly standard things that you would have around your house. Not everyone is lucky enough to have Monaciello Cellars vinegars, although you could be. You can go to their website, which I will leave a link for down in the bottom, and you can check them out. And this contest is open until November 23rd, so if you think you can win and beat my recipe, then you just go ahead and try. Get yourself some Monaciello Cellars vinegars, and you'll be good to go. Anyway, let me spin you around here. Before I forget, if you haven't subscribed, you really totally should. Anyway, let me get you flipped around here and we'll take a look at what I have going on. So I'm starting out with a little over a pound of ground cherries. So I'm just going to add some water into this just to cover. And I'm going to turn this on and bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to let it cook for about an hour. And then I will be back. This has been cooking away, and to this I'm going to add 1/4 cup of raisins. And, I'm going to have to set you down because I need both hands for this move. I'm going to go ahead and add, I don't know, about 1/4 cup of onion. And I'm going to let this cook down until those are soft. I'm also going to throw in, I've got 4 cloves of garlic here. So I'm going to grate those in. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for about 15 minutes and then I shall return. Well, aren't I just the sweetest person around?
Yes.
I really, really am. I wish you'd tell everybody.
I have.
When?
Maybe I was sleeping.
Maybe you dreamed it?
Maybe it was in my dream.
Dreamed you were talking about how wonderful I am?
Yes.
Yeah, Was thinking I might strain this, but you know what? I don't mind a little bit of fiber in my sweet and sour sauce, so I'm not going to. I'm going to come in here with my stick blender and beat it all up. I added my garlic and my onions and my raisins a little while ago, and we're just going to mix that all up. I might have to actually tilt this a bit.
Whatever they are. Did you just spray over? Again?
Shh. Shh. I think I need to move to maybe a little smaller pan. See, I'll be back when I clean up. Okay, so I've moved it to my smallest pan that I have. And now we're going to add in, and I did zhuzh it so that it's a nice texture. And I'm gonna leave it at that, and we're gonna go from there. So one thing I didn't add, I didn't add any pepper, so I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper. And then in here I'm going to add, a couple of teaspoons of, come on. I'm gonna add a little bit of soy sauce. So I'm thinking a little more than 2 teaspoons that I have there. So that's what we'll add. And then in here I have some of my apple powder, which is basically dried up apple peels and stuff, and it's just ground into a powder in my spice blender. And then I have, what do I have? Cinnamon, clove, allspice, chili powder, and a little bit of ginger. So about 1/8 of a teaspoon of each of those. And then about a teaspoon of that apple powder that I made. Now you could use pectin if you had a pectin, and that'll thicken it up, but we're gonna put that in there. And let me grab a spoon and give this a stir. I've just got my heat on low. That spice blend is just fabulous, and it is gonna go with, did I mention that I'm using it is the Filipino spice. So I don't know what spices go into a Filipino spice, but when I smelled it, it smelled like it would go beautifully with this sauce that I'm making. So I'm going to also add, because it is a sweet and sour sauce, right? So I'm going to add, I've got about 1.25 cups of brown sugar here. And I'm going to add that. I might have gone too small, but I had to go this small because my bigger ones they wouldn't let me use the mixer. I didn't have enough stuff. So anyway, there's my sugar. And then I'm going to add the whole thing of this vinegar into here. And then I'm going to let it cook for 10 or 15 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and give it a taste. My goodness, it smells so good. I can't wait till they invent smell-o-vision. Okay, here we go. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this off. Okay, maybe not quite. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll go with all. And stir very carefully, Lorrie. And I might need to now switch this to a bigger pan. Forgot to bring the camera.
What?
You can pause for a second and just like run your finger through that and taste it.
Well, that's real sanitary. I don't know. It's already out.
It's sweet and sour sauce.
Okay.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. I'll make Mom pick from the other end so that they don't get any cross-contamination going on. You pause your thing there for a sec.
What are we doing?
You're going to slop your finger through that. Have a taste. Make sure you do it at this end because Dave touched the other end.
You mean I might get something if I go to that end?
No, he doesn't have anything, but heaven forbid, you should get some cross germs.
That's supposed to be sweet and sour?
Yeah.
Did you put cinnamon in there?
Yes.
Yeah. I can taste the cinnamon. It's good. It doesn't strike me as sweet and sour, but then I'm used to the Chinese place sweet and sour, which is completely different. Is this supposed to be like that?
No.
No.
No, this is supposed to be authentic.
With a few little changes
A few
that you
little
made from the
twists,
recipe.
yeah. It's supposed to be a plum sauce, but I made it with ground cherries.
Oh, okay.
You can taste it again. It's
Do I-
only your finger and Dave's finger that have been in there.
That would be good on a
Like
on
an
a,
egg roll, or
Yeah, yeah.
or like some sweet and sour chicken,
Or
some
stir fry rice or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I can taste the cinnamon in there, which I like.
Yeah.
I think that's good. And that's those little tiny,
Well, that's the ground cherries.
the ones that were
They grew in the pathway.
Will that come back?
I don't know. It depends on whether there were any seeds dropped or not.
Oh, okay. That's a very interesting sauce. I have never tasted anything like that.
Oh, good.
And it's because you diverted from the
No, I used the spices that I found in a recipe.
Mm-hmm.
I just changed a few things, but not the spices.
experimenting
I
again.
didn't change the spices. Well, I added, maybe it's just the vinegar. I added a Filipino spice vinegar from Monaciello Cellars.
Does that give it the little zip it has? It has a little bite to it.
It might.
Yeah. Just
It's either that or the chili powder.
Maybe that. There is a little bite to it, but not too much for me.
Not too bad?
No,
Okay, good.
no.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So now you have to invite everybody from your YouTube channel to the house to come and try some of that.
No, they can make their own. I'm going to leave them the recipe.
Okay. Okay, make your own, people. Make your own. Don't invade our house.
I modified it a bit, but there is kind of a recipe that I followed.
There's kind of a recipe that she followed. Have you ever followed a recipe from start to finish? Ever?
Not usually. I don't
Now,
always...
see, I told you take after my mother when it comes to cooking. Because you know what she would do? She would take a box cake mix, chocolate cake mix. And this was back in the old days when they weren't that great. Not that they're a whole lot better now. Anyway, she would add a cup of mashed potatoes to the cake mix. And that cake would come out just as moist. You couldn't tell. She even one time put a cup of mashed turnips in a devil's food cake mix. You couldn't taste it. It made it very moist. And she would experiment with things.
Well, sometimes you don't have the exact ingredients that a recipe calls for.
And sometimes you just look at it and say, this looks boring. I'm going to add this and I'm going to add that. I want this little zip in there. This will add some zip.
This needs a little bit of zing. Well, you know, my biggest complaint from most recipes that I try is that they're bland.
Yeah,
So
that's for people like me.
and I'll put on them bland, add this and this and this. Like, it would be good, but kind of, it could be better if it had this and this and this. I try to stick as close to the recipe as possible the first time I make something. And then each subsequent time I make it, I
Add something.
modify a little bit more. Like my spaghetti sauce is never the same twice.
No, it isn't. But that's okay. It's a surprise every
Yeah,
time
it's
we
a
have spaghetti.
But it's always good. I mean, spaghetti sauce. Say goodbye.
Bye, y'all.